Welcome to another edition of Influence, the global podcast that shines a spotlight on the influencer marketing industry. My name is Gordon Glenister. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm a keynote speaker, trainer, and consultant in the sector, and published author on influencer marketing strategy. Influence is also a proud member of the Marketing Podcast Network, where you can listen to other amazing influence and marketing related shows. But before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to the show just to make sure that you don't miss a future episode. Now, today I'm talking with the lovely Milissa Grande, a Canadian lifestyle and travel content creator. And she starts by telling me a little bit about how she started out as a content creator. Well, welcome to another edition of the Influence Global podcast. And today I'm welcoming a very special guest. I would say all the way from Canada. She is Canadian, but we're currently talking in the Philippines. And we both met in Dubai just recently. So Milissa Grande, who's a great content creator, welcome to the Influence Global podcast show.
Hi, it's very nice to see you again and being here on the podcast.
And you're super excited. This is the first, although you've done television interviews, you've done all sorts of things, you've never done a podcast before, have you?
No, yeah, I've never done a podcast before, so this is something really exciting for me. So
Good stuff. So we're going to talk really about your life, what you do as a content creator. You've amassed a significant audience on Instagram and TikTok, haven't you? You were just saying about over 300,000 on Instagram, 500,000 on YouTube.
Yeah, just about to hit 500K on YouTube, so I'm excited about that. And I think on TikTok as well. So
wow, amazing. So tell me, how did this all start out?
Okay, well, I started getting into content creator when I was about, I think back 2019, so a few years back, like 3 years ago. Very recent. Before that, I wasn't really into any of the content creating, although I did watch a lot of vlogs online. I did watch a lot of YouTube, and I thought to myself, wow, they have a really nice life. And that's something that I really kind of wanted to do. So it's funny story is I took my dad's camera, like his old camera back in the days, and I would just film myself, but never really posted it online. Just film like the littlest things around the house. And that's when I kind of, my parents noticed that, wow, she has like potential. And so they pushed me to do it. They pushed me to create content on YouTube, post it. And once I started doing that, it actually was a hit. Or it wasn't a hit right at the start. But I started making singing videos at first, and people started noticing. And then funny story is I met my boyfriend actually, and we did a collaboration, and that's when it started to hit off. So I think I would say in 2020, that is when it kind of started to grow, like my following started to grow. So
just from 2020, and we're only in 2022 23 period, and yet that's an incredible rise. And I mean, what I find fascinating is when it comes to sort of influencer marketing, something like 85% of them are women with an average age of around 28. So why do you think women have become so successful as content creators?
I think besides, the drive of their drive for taking pictures and being so artistic in their way, women has just been so like, they just look so pleasing to the eye. I want to say, you know what I mean? I guess the way they speak, the way they present themselves, it's a different way. And yeah.
Do you know what's really funny though is when, I mean, as British guys, we don't see as many guys taking selfies of themselves.
Right.
It's but funny saying that when I was in Dubai, I couldn't help but notice the amount of men that were taking pictures on the beach in particular. I mean, crazy amount of that.
Right.
Which
and
is,
if you could,
go on.
yeah, and if you can't compare it like from years back, no one really, if they would take pictures but not really pose in a certain way, they wouldn't really look into how they pose or the details behind of, like the background and everything. And yeah, but nowadays everybody's kind of getting into that hype or that trend where you have to take a picture a certain way. There's a certain, pose that goes with standing up. There's a certain pose with sitting down. So it's very interesting how the whole system works now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, what type of content do you think really works well for you? What would be your because obviously, one of the things I think that makes a really good content creator is they know their numbers. They're looking at the
Right.
stats, they're looking at view time, dwell time, they're looking at engagement rates, all that sort of stuff. Because if you're making money from this, that's what a brand is going to look for. So you want to make sure that not only are you pleasing your audience, because let's be honest, if you put a picture or video out and it bombs for you as well, doesn't it? It doesn't is you don't want to do that, but you want to find the right type of stuff that your audience likes. So in your
Yes.
experience, what is that?
For me, I travel a lot. So for me, that is what I enjoy and what I noticed that my audience also enjoyed. The thing with me is, as a 24-year-old, I'm actually only 24 years old, so I'm pretty young. A lot of in their 20s, people, travel, and people in my age kind of just started graduating university. So they have a chance to travel the world and everything. And that's, from what I noticed, that's what really hit it off for me. That's what they've been watching a lot of. And I always see in the comments, if I scroll down into the comments, they would ask a lot of questions about, where was this? And I started seeing that trend, and, putting in locations in the videos, where I was, what restaurant I was in, what I was eating even. That was interesting to people. And to me, that I find that interesting as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it sounds like in the early days you did your research, you looked at other people's vlogs, you found I always say, as organizations or as people, if we're liking certain types of content or we're commenting on it, then we should apply the same things that we do ourselves to our own channel. And that doesn't always
Exactly.
happen, does it? We often keep doing the same old stuff and we think, oh, why
Yeah.
isn't that working? And yeah, actually, when you look at your own personal behavior, you do something completely different.
Yeah, exactly. I guess
Yeah,
it's different for everybody. It's different for what your personality is too. So
yeah,
you kind of have to go off what your personality is. If you're a shy person, if you're more, an introvert, it really reflects on what the video puts out.
yeah,
So
yeah. Now,
yeah.
TikTok has been a sensation, of course, and it's a great
Mhm.
way to grow very, very quickly. Do you do the same type of content on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, or do you vary? What I'm saying is, do you just repurpose one video for all, or do you
Oh,
vary?
no, actually TikTok is, for me, it's kind of more of a personal, not a person, oh, I guess not, I wouldn't say personal, but TikTok is more where I have fun, the most fun. That I do transitions on TikTok. I don't do vlogs on TikTok. I don't pull out the camera and say, hey guys, I am here at the restaurant, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. TikTok is just kind of, it's mostly, I mostly do transitions on TikTok. So, and just kind of like for fun stuff, like I would just pull out the camera, my friends would just be behind me, and maybe we'll do a little bit of a dance, but just that. So it's
Yeah.
just for fun for me on TikTok.
Well, and it's interesting, isn't it, how much entertainment and emotional experience has a direct correlation with comments and engagement, isn't it? We don't want to see
Yes.
people overly promoting themselves, but we do want
Yes.
to be entertained, and the reward is the comment, the like, the share, isn't it?
Yes. And it's funny, we live in a society where we expect to give and also receive. So whatever you put out there, what content that may be, maybe it's just like something silly. Someone out there will always have something to take away from it,
Yeah.
whether that be a laugh, like, a lesson or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you, and let's talk about a bit about brand deals, because obviously as your audience has grown and you've got great engagement, that is very attractive to lifestyle brands. Tell us about some of the brand activations that you've done.
Actually, since I do, as I mentioned before, I do a lot of travel vlogs. I actually have a lot of brand deals with hotels or places to stay at. So that's some of them. I also do commercials. So some of the brand deals that kind of I advertise, I do get picky with them because I have to kind of watch for my image, my reputation as well.
Mm.
But I do brand deals with fast food. Just a few years ago, I did one with KFC. So yeah, just brand deals like that. And then online for PR projects, they usually ask for, so how usually a PR works with me is they usually ask for one picture and you get to post it and they give you, a TF, a talent fee. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works with the brand deals.
Yeah. Do you ever work with affiliate commissions at all? Because I know some content creators are okay with it. Others are a little bit, a bit more sensitive to the fact that actually it takes time and effort to create content, and that you want to be paid for the content and not just given a commission based upon the amount of, likes, comments, or visits to their website.
Right, right. Sometimes you do kind of have to negotiate with some of the brand deals sometimes.
Mm,
If it doesn't work, there are going to be some brand deals that won't work for you. It just doesn't work,
yeah.
and just let it go, move on. But there are some brand deals that would be willing to work with you and negotiate on those terms. Sometimes, when I was actually starting off, there were some clothing brands and just very local clothing brands, local ones in Canada. And they would contact me and ask, like, hey, do you want to promote this? Like, we will give you this in return. And it wasn't really technically money. It was more of, their shirts, their products. And they would just give that. And at that time, it was for me, I was just starting out and I thought to myself, that's a pretty appropriate to do. You give me what you have and I'll give you what I have, which is my followers, my marketing and all that. So it was kind of a give and give a situation. And throughout the years, you kind of have to know your worth. You kind of
Mm.
have to know, how much are you willing to put out there and for how much. So it's you're basically selling yourself, right?
Of course, and I think it's somebody that's very much involved in the sort of influencer creator economy myself. I think that whilst there are sort of industry standards and benchmarks, if you know about them, that's the case. But I know when I've been speaking to some content creators, they don't know what to charge. Particularly as they're starting out, for a post,
Right.
for a story, for a video, and there are so many variables within that. So what would your advice be, should I say, for somebody that is, not perhaps got the same scale of followers that you may have, but perhaps in the tens of thousands, maybe to 10, 15,000, but on the way up, so doing a similar type of lifestyle stroke travel blogs and stuff like that. What would your
Mhm.
advice be for them?
It's actually funny because a lot of people are different. I know some of my friends have 10,000 followers or around there,
Yeah.
and they still are able to contact hotel and make a deal with the hotel. So I think you really have to kind of push yourself to do it. If you think that it really depends on a person's confidence, you know what I mean? If you have the confidence to do it, if you can really present yourself to the way that you really want to, and in a way that is convincing to the brand, then you can really get what you want as well.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I totally
right.
agree with you. Totally agree with you. So what's next for you? What's in the pipeline? What have you got plans for in 2023?
Well, I am planning to finish my school. So I'm still in university and still doing school, and I'm in physiology and pharmacology degree. So I'm doing that short term, and then long term, I still want to create content. I still want to do what I do and hopefully grow my audience in terms of, the age group as well, because right now it's mostly teenagers and young adults. And I want to kind of venture off into older generations. So
Yeah. Well,
that's something.
and that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because so
Mhm.
often, as an influencer, you can become a celebrity, but as you get older, you need to sometimes find, because though your followers may continue to follow with you as you get older, but may not. They may follow somebody else. So it's important,
Yes.
in the same way that singers do. They almost have
Yes.
a life cycle, don't they? That they have to keep reinventing themselves, and sometimes
Yes.
you see this when influencers get married and they have babies and they go through a different journey, and then of course they get new followers
Yes,
for
exactly. You know,
yeah,
it's great that you mentioned the whole celebrity thing too, because celebrities and influencers are two completely different things, in my opinion.
they are.
I think influencers are more relatable.
Mm,
So if you keep posting content as an influencer, people are going to follow your story. Every move you make, you know, growing from your teenage years to when you're married until, you know, when you have kids and you have a family of yourself. So
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's interesting that way. And
yeah.
people love, that's the whole thing about influencing, is people love influencers because they're so relatable and they can actually, you know, slip into their shoes and become part of the family, part of their lives.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And what's really nice is that for a brand's point of view, it's really helpful for them to work with influencers, not just for marketing, but also for research. You know, we've seen a lot of brands now saying, look, we want to bring out a new range, and we're going to invite a number of influencers to be part of that early adoption and reach out to their audience and say, if we created a shoe that looks like this, what would you think of it? If we created a dress that looked like this, what would you think of it? And of course,
Yes.
then you get lots of engagement. And when that product comes out, what we've listened to our audiences, and they go back to those influencers, and all of a sudden they've got almost a ready-made product because they asked them before those products were being even created,
Exactly.
which I think is really fascinating. As of course is the whole live stream environment now, isn't it? And seeing how you know, influencers are not just being used for top of the funnel brand awareness, but very much engaged in the sales process by having their
Yes.
own brands. I mean, I was just going to
Exactly.
ask you, have you thought about having the Melissa Grande range or anything to do with that?
Yeah, I actually wanted to, this is actually the first time I actually announce it. So I am planning to do like a swimwear line.
Oh,
So yeah, and I kind of want to, you know,
amazing.
being an influencer, I think that's such a powerful thing,
Mm,
is over the years you get the privilege, the opportunity to make your own brand
mm,
and use your followers to do that. So and an experience that I had was, I think last year I started getting into songwriting. So I asked my producer, hey, let's make a song. Let's see how this works. And with my followers, I was crazy. I was actually super like astonished how my followers reacted to it. They would restory it, they would share it. They were so active with it. And the support that I got was so overwhelming. It was very nice. And so you can definitely use your platform into promoting yourself as
yeah.
well. So
Well, I have to say, Melissa Grande, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you
yeah,
today, and I'm so pleased to hear of your success and likely future success. So thank you for joining us on the Influence Global podcast.
thank you so much, Gordon. It was so nice to be here.
Thanks for listening. And if you like this episode, please do give us a review because it makes a huge difference. And if you want help in creating an influencer marketing strategy, or you want to join the Influencer Marketing Roundtable weekly event, head over to gordonglenister.com. And thanks as always to my producer, Neil Whiteside from Freedom One. And until next time, from me, Gordon Glenister, it's bye for now.